If you watch Wheezy Waiter, if you follow Wheezy News, he posted a video on how he does his green screening, and he used Final Cut. And since most YouTubers don't have Final Cut, I thought I would show you how to do it with iMovie, because I have iMovie, and it's pretty simple to do, and I've got my green screen set up already, so I'm going to show you my setup, and I'll show you how to edit it. Alright, so your first step is, of course, setting it up. My studio is my bathroom. Right now, my setup is not as good as Wheezy's, so if you'd like to see a better setup, you can click on Wheezy's video, which I've got a link to in the doobly-doo. So I've got, first of all, of course, the screen itself, which Wheezy has a stand set up. I just have it with push pins on my wall. There's another one, and then another one, and another one. And since I put this up every now and again, I have designated holes that I put them in, so those are all in holes that are already there, so I don't have to put a bunch of holes in my wall. Now as for the lighting, walked into my tripod. Oh yeah, and then I have my tripod right here, and then, yeah. As for your lighting setup, you need to make sure that it's nice and even lighting, to where you have even colors throughout your main frame, which, like up there where it's darker, you don't really see that on the video, so that doesn't matter. And yes, there's this little blue spot of Play-Doh. I don't know where that came from. Now with the lighting, I have a utility light set up. That it's now this is the part where it's, yeah, my setup is not as fancy. I have a folding chair sitting on my bathroom counter, and then this is clamped onto it so it doesn't fall. And then I have an extension cord plugged in right there that runs and powers the utility light and a lamp. And these are both 100-watt bulbs, so they're nice and bright. Which this is just an old lamp that's sitting on my toilet. So yeah, that's the basic setup for getting it set up. And now onto how to record. When you are recording with iMovie, you need to make sure that the very last frame to the very end of your video is only your green screen, because there's an option in iMovie that it uses the last frame. You check it and it says, I'll show you once I get to the editing part. You check the button that says like subtract last frame or something like that. And it will look at the last frame and it will know that that is the green screen. So just make sure that that you do have your last frame is just your green screen. And then stand in front. You might want to do a test video to make sure your lighting on your face is good. And if you're wearing a certain shirt, make sure that your subject is nice and lit, because if it's not, you will get artifacts of green on their face. And it's not very good. In fact, I might have some because I don't have the best frontal lighting setup. So there might be artifacts on my face, and then you can see that. Because you don't want to have a green tone on your face. And as you can see right now, because I don't have good frontal lighting, this half of my face is dark, because I have a super bright light over here. So you want to make sure you have a front light, and then you have your back lights to omit shadows. Yeah, the frontal light is very important, because you need to see the details in your face, or it looks weird. And you can see that it looks weird here. So that's something that I've learned that you need to learn. I haven't used this light before because it's my mom's light, so I haven't used it. But now I know that I need to have a light at the front, which you can use. You can just use a lamp, or you can use another one of these. My dad has one of these as well, just a different kind. So you can use one of those. You can use anything really, as long as it's bright enough that you can see your face. And always check as you're recording, because if you make a whole bunch of stuff, then you have to re-record it. Like, I really should re-record it with better light, but I'm going to use this as an example for you guys so you can learn from my mistakes. Also, make sure you're wearing nothing green. I'm wearing black and white, and also maybe nothing close to green. Now, I'll show you how to edit it. So, to the computer! First thing what you have to do is grab your background video, what you want to be in the back on the green screen. So just load that in, and since I'm going to do a photo, I'm just going to use the photo selector here. So just drag it in, and if it's a video, it needs to be as long as your clip. And then with the if you do a photo in the back, you just need to expand it to the right time. But I don't remember how long mine is, so I'm just gonna do it like 5 minutes. There. Now, before you actually are able to work with green screen footage, you need to go into your preferences, click the iMovie at the top, select preferences, and you need to make sure that under General, Show Advanced Tools is enabled. And you should be able to do this in at least iMovie 11 and iMovie 09. I haven't tried it in older versions of iMovie. Those are the only two I've tried. But you can look and see. So make sure once you know that's enabled, you can close out of your preferences. And then all you need to do is take your footage, take your green screen footage right here, up at the top, or actually it might be at the bottom. You go into your event library, it might look like this. I'll show you what it might look like for you. This is what it looks like by default. It might look like this. So it's whichever one has this event library right here. And then you take your green screen footage from there. And then all I have to do is drag it on top. So here's my footage. I'm just going to select it. Make sure you're scrolled to the very beginning of your footage, or wherever you're trying to import it. And then you go up to your footage in the events library and drag it on top. Go as close to the edge as you can. Drag it on top. And then you'll get this little window right here. And then you can select either green screen or blue screen depending on the color of screen you have. Most people have green screen. Just select it. And then it should show up here in your preview window. Then you can just hit play. And you should be able to see what it looks like. Now you notice that around here you've got little artifacts around there, which like I mentioned earlier, you might have artifacts if your lighting is not correct. One way you can combat that is, like I said, to always make sure you have your last frame is just green screen. You can click on your green screen footage, open Inspector by clicking this eye right here. You can also just right click on the video, and then select this box right here. It says subtract last frame. And then that should improve the quality of your chroma key, which is the technical term for using a green screen. It's called chroma key. And now we've noticed that most of the artifacts are gone and it looks better. Now you notice that you still have a little bit of this right here. And that's going to happen because that means your lighting isn't working the best. So you need to make that's caused by uneven lighting, which I didn't have very even lighting. My setup could have been better, which there are fine-tuning. You can fine-tune it in professional programs, but iMovie is a consumer program. So if you have Final Cut, you would be able to fine-tune it if you watched Wheezy's video, you saw him fine-tuning it. But iMovie does not offer any fine-tuning. So once you got that in, you're pretty much done. But if you do need to cut out some of your footage, like I always have to cut stuff out because I can't speak at all, you can just do it just like you would normally in iMovie. Like I'll trim out. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, now it's split. You see that it's split? And then say I want to cut off this last part. You can just, boom, delete it. And then just export it, go share, export movie, just like you would normally. And there you go, you've made a green screen video. So I hope you found that helpful, and I hope you learned something.